And then the other big development is that on the dark web, we are seeing more and more marketplaces like 0 Day Today, where hackers are actually creating these exploits and selling them for thousands of dollars. And then other hackers buy them and use them. So the hackers that are actually using these exploits to break into computers don't necessarily have to be hacking wizards. They're literally just buying tools that other people create.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Greisiger with NetDiligence. I'm here today with a good friend of mine. Her name is Sherri Davidoff. She's a cybersecurity expert, and she is CEO of LMG Security. And Sherri is a thought leader in the cybersecurity world, but I've known her over the years by coming to the NetDiligence Cyber Summit conferences and seeing her speak on many a topic. She's also a member of our ransomware advisory group, and she always comes to the table with great ideas. So recently I came across LMG's, they have a blog they put out, a newsletter that I pay attention to, and it just happened to talk about, top security controls. And those kind of things just catch my attention, even though it could be an endless list of top security controls. I wanted to just pick Sherri's brain about what she thought were some leading cybersecurity controls that can, especially help someone like an SME organization prevent some of the chaos that we're seeing. So we, NetDiligence, we support many cyber insurance companies, brokers, the end policyholder, and Sherri, your group does it, also supports the same folks. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me, Mark. And I have to say, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you and your team. I think NetDiligence has become my favorite cyber conferences. So really fun to be sitting down with you today.
Thank you. So let's jump right in here. So Sherri, just tell me in your own words, what's the number one way, if there is such a thing, that you're seeing hackers break into organizations, and how can an organization defend against that kind of thing?
Yep, absolutely. It is hard to boil this one down, but I think this year there is one just no-brainer, one big way that hackers are breaking in that's really surpassed everything else, and that is software vulnerabilities. And there are some big reasons for this. Over the years, we've seen technology vendors that got hacked over and over and over again, and they had their source code stolen. And when source code is stolen, it's easier for hackers to find bugs and vulnerabilities. Often these cases were not reported, maybe not even detected by the technology vendors, because unlike PII, when source code is stolen, there's not necessarily a legal requirement to report that. So the systemic risk has been going up and up and up without us even realizing it. And then the other big development is that on the dark web, we are seeing more and more marketplaces like 0 Day Today, where hackers are actually creating these exploits and selling them for thousands of dollars. And then other hackers buy them and use them. So the hackers that are actually using these exploits to break into computers don't necessarily have to be hacking wizards. They're literally just buying tools that other people create. So that's part of the reason that you've probably seen over and over. There's a 0-day vulnerability in Microsoft Exchange, and 30,000 organizations are hacked. Similarly, we saw that with Rackspace as well. So, and it's not going to change. It's just going to continue to be a problem.
A good summary on that. Thank you. Let's just pivot to another related issue. We're starting to see a lot of business email compromise issues. Working with all the cyber insurance community, obviously ransomware is an issue. Business email compromise is probably its close cousin right next to it, and oftentimes that's tied to cloud account hacking. So how can an SME defend against that kind of thing, Sherri?
Sure. Business email compromise has been one of the leading causes of losses over the past several years. And of course, that's where hackers are breaking into your accounts. And so typically the best and most effective way to defend against that is with multi-factor authentication. I probably sound like a broken record because I think everybody's talking about it. But this year we're seeing that hackers are leveling up. So if you don't have multi-factor authentication, that's like level 1. Authentication is how we verify someone's identity. And so we need to be using more than them one method to do it, both belt and suspenders. But now we're seeing hackers doing MFA, multi-factor authentication bypass. We saw this in the Uber hack, for example, where the hackers actually came out and explained what they did. They said they bombed the employee over and over again with lots and lots of prompts until all of a sudden the employee or the contractor pushed the button and they were in. And we see that at LMG when we conduct a penetration test or a red team test. Often it only takes a couple of attempts before the target will just say, okay, fine, I'll let you in. And so it's a real problem. Training is a solution, but there's also special ways you can configure multi-factor authentication so that attackers can't do that. Like you can limit the number of prompts that people can get, things like that.
Yeah. No, I think MFA is genius, to be perfectly honest with you. It's so easy to get that text, to your mobile device and plug it in, or if you're using even Google Authenticator, that's not too complex. So
yeah, I can't wait till we don't need passwords at all, Mark. I'll be honest, I've been waiting 20 years for passwordless authentication and it is coming. So I can't wait. I hate passwords.
That is a topic, you're right, I keep hearing about. It's a great topic. Maybe I'll explore with that on the next one of these.
Yeah.
But a lot of the small, medium sized organizations, I refer to them as SMEs. And in the cyber insurance world, that could be anyone from a few $1 million in revenue to literally $500 million in revenue. It's a pretty wide range. But of course, they don't have endless buckets of money to make investments in insurance nor security. So how would you say an organization could get maybe the most bang for their buck in making a cyber investment?
Yeah, great question, Mark. Cybersecurity starts at the top, and you really want to prioritize your cybersecurity investments. Nobody needs to be spending a bunch of money on something that doesn't really work, right? So you need to have access to a qualified cybersecurity expert. And we're starting to see that reflected in actual regulations and guidance as well, where banks and other organizations are now required to have a single qualified information security person that's leading the charge. Unfortunately, there are not enough qualified cybersecurity experts out there, right? This is a new collar job. And so instead, we're starting to see a rise in fractional CISOs, Chief Information Security Officers, or virtual CISOs. I know we've been doing a lot of work like that. And that way SMEs can tap into that expertise. You don't just want to be relying on your IT provider, because often your third-party providers are picking technology that works, maybe they get fees from it, or maybe it's just something that they're familiar with. You really want to be talking to someone with cybersecurity expertise so that you're properly prioritizing your investments.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to pause it right there. I know we could talk on this, far deeper thoughts here, but I want to just pause there. Those are really 3 good points you brought up. And I want to remind the audience, if you guys are inside our ERIS Cub portal, please just search the name Sherri Davidoff, LMG. She has plenty of good content, articles, and she has spoke at many NetDiligence conferences. We even have video of Sherri, or you can actually write her too if you want some more details. I'm sure she would appreciate it. And I'll mention one last thing, Sherri. I'm reading your book on ransomware. Look for her book on ransomware. It's sold in Amazon. About a third of the way through it. Sherri, what's the title? Can you remind me? What's the title?
Yep, it's Ransomware and Cyber Extortion, Response and Prevention. It's not just about how we respond. We also want to prevent them from happening in the first place. So check it out. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, you got a lot of real life examples in there, which I like. So thank you again, Sherri.
Thanks a lot for having me.